It was close to 11 p.m. when I noticed Sarah's phone sitting on the dining room table. She never left it behind, not even for a quick trip to the bathroom. The sight of it felt off. She'd left for a work meeting with the operations team, giving me that familiar grin, half sweet, half self-assured, that always seemed to disarm me. The phone vibrated twice, no alerts visible on the screen. I turned it over carefully. It was on silent mode. The display showed a name I didn't know. David R., engineer. My stomach knotted. Sarah didn't have close male friends by that name, and I'd never heard of a colleague she was that chummy with. 5 minutes stretched on, each second heavier than the last. I left the phone untouched, but a primal unease stirred within me. I dug through a kitchen drawer, found her old charger, plugged it in, and switched the phone on with unsteady hands. Then I went in, no lock code. Shocking. Sarah was always so cautious. I opened her messaging app first, then tapped on the chat with David R. There were images. A hotel bed, 2 wine glasses, a selfie of Sarah in dark lace lingerie she'd never shown me. It felt like a blade twisting in my gut, raw and sickening. I didn't hesitate. I texted as if I were her. Just got here, grabbed a drink downstairs. You in the room? His reply came fast. Ready for you, darling. Naked like always. That like always hit like a hammer. This wasn't a one-off, it was a habit. My hands shook, but I pressed on. I needed to know how deep this ran. I asked subtle questions, things Sarah wouldn't share with me. He answered with shameless ease. The hotel's name, their meeting days, even sneaking around on Sundays while I was at the playground with our kids. I fought back nausea. I closed the chat and opened her photos. It wasn't just him. There were pictures of them together at a lakeside cabin on a beach, in diners she never mentioned to me. One photo broke me. Sarah, glowing with a real smile when she hadn't given me in ages, wrapped in David's arms. Their faces close, like smitten teens. I saved it all, taking snapshots of the evidence. I wandered the house like a phantom, our bedroom, the hallway, the kids' rooms. Everything looked unchanged, but nothing felt like mine. At midnight, the front door clicked. Sarah walked in, slipping off her heels, muttering, "Long day." She glanced at me from the entryway, her face relaxed, clueless. Before I could speak, I handed her the phone silently. She took it casually, but her expression froze when she saw the open chat. She knew the truth was out. She stood frozen in the hallway, phone in hand, her face ashen. She couldn't fake her way out. Her eyes gave her away. She looked up, guilt and defiance warring in her gaze. I sat on the couch, still waiting for her to speak, but she only opened her mouth, then shut it, like she was grasping for words. There was no justifying this, and I wasn't ready for her excuses. "How long?" I asked, direct and cold. She perched on the edge of a chair, keeping her distance. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "I didn't plan it," she mumbled. "It just happened." I gave a sharp, humorless laugh. "Just happened, the lingerie, the wine, the weekly hotel stays." She recoiled at my tone, calm but dripping with venom, a voice she didn't know. She confessed she met him at a company seminar over a year ago. It started with innocent talks, work-related camaraderie, then snowballed. "Why stay with me if you're living another life with him?" I asked. "You're my kid's dad." "I love you differently," she said, as if that dulled the pain. It didn't. "Differently, like you love a lamp, a habit." I cut myself off. She stayed silent. She said David was an escape, someone who made her feel vibrant. Our life, home, kids, bills, felt stifling, she said. She craved feeling wanted, and he gave her that without strings. That without strings burned as if I were a weight while he was her spark. We didn't shout. The truth sat between us, raw and unfixable. I couldn't sleep, so I slipped into the kids' room, watching them breathe, oblivious to our world's collapse. Sarah didn't follow. I heard our bedroom door close. By morning, she was gone, taking a few things. Maybe to him, maybe not. It didn't matter. I sat with black coffee, my stomach hollow, not from hunger, but from a deeper void like my chest had been gutted. I spent the day in silence, dodging calls, skipping work, replaying the past few months. Her late nights, her business trips, her tired but oddly bright smiles. I'd chosen to be blind, settling into the routine she loathed. But that didn't absolve her. Her betrayal wasn't about freedom. It was a double life with a man I now knew, though he didn't know me. I wasn't going to sit still. This was just the beginning. The next day, the hurt faded, replaced by icy resolve. I sat at my laptop and looked up David. It was easy: LinkedIn, social media, a recent trade article. Civil engineer, divorced, 2 kids he saw on weekends. A middle-aged guy with a try-hard charm, into running and photography. I made a fake profile, a plain woman, nothing flashy, just enough to pique interest. 2 days later, David bit. We swapped casual messages, then he fed me the classic, "You're not like the others, I love our chats." I nearly laughed out loud. I built a character. A newly single woman, no kids, seeking something genuine. I called him my type. He fell for it, bragging about his special bond with a woman in operations. "Like you." That phrase churned my stomach. I kept at it, coaxing out details. The motel they used, their usual days, even Sarah's excuse of dropping off documents to cover her absences. I saved every word, assembling a dark mosaic. David wasn't just unfaithful. He was calculated, a practiced manipulator. This wasn't love, it was a game, and Sarah had fallen for a predator who targeted her weaknesses. On Saturday, with the kids at my parents', I parked outside her office, clutching a water bottle and my phone full of proof. At 7:20 p.m., I saw her leave, laughing hand in hand with David. No discretion, no fear. They thought they were untouchable. I didn't tail them. I snapped photos from my car. The real blow would land later, when they least expected it. At home, I created a folder named Judgment. Inside went every screenshot, audio clip, message, and photo, evidence of their affair. Every night Sarah came home, acting normal, speaking with empty courtesy. I stayed quiet. I smiled. I listened. I made myself invisible. In their ease, they got sloppy. Sarah didn't know the true punishment isn't being exposed. It's when the one who knows waits, holding all the cards. I spent the week working discreetly, setting up an anonymous email and compiling my evidence. Photos, messages, audio clips where David said Sarah's name, dates, and intimate details that could ruin her career. I sent it to her supervisor, HR, and corporate leadership with the subject: employee behavior on company time. But I wasn't done. David had a vulnerability, his ex-wife. I found her online via an old photo of their kids. I messaged her, calmly saying I had information about someone near her children. She agreed to a video call. I showed her everything: dates, photos, messages. She broke down, enraged, and thanked me. She mentioned a custody rule barring David from introducing new partners around their kids. Perfect. That night, Sarah brought home a bottle of wine. "What's this?" I asked. "I thought we could unwind, talk," she said. I smiled, gestured for her to sit. She spoke of therapy, of rebuilding. I played along, saying I'd consider it. I poured her wine, played her favorite music, and we danced stiffly, like strangers chasing a lost spark. She clung to me that night, not from love, but guilt and fear. The next day, it all fell apart. She called from work, hysterical, saying she'd been suspended for misusing company time and inappropriate conduct with a contractor. David got a warning at his firm and a legal notice from his ex-wife limiting his access to their kids. Sarah was bewildered, lost. I suggested someone must have seen them. She asked me to pick her up. I did, seeing her shattered, her usual poise gone. At home, she pleaded for therapy, for forgiveness, calling it a slip-up. I said I'd think about it. We didn't share a bed that night or the nights after. I let her believe I was open to fixing things, but I'd already decided. I waited a month, nurturing her false hope. I held her hand when she sobbed, listened to her talk of fresh starts, even went to a therapy session, playing the remorseful husband. I lied without effort, feeling nothing. I needed her to feel secure, to think the ground was steady. Then, one Sunday, with the kids at my brother's, I cooked her favorite meal, set the table with candles, and played soft music. She wore an old dress, believing it was a new beginning. After dessert, I slid an envelope across the table. "What's this?" she asked. "Open it," I said, flat. Inside were the printed proofs, photos, messages, dates, a copy of the email to her work, and a note. "This isn't payback. It's justice." She froze, hands trembling, tears spilling as her career and lies lay bare. "You did this," she whispered. I nodded. "Why drag it out?" she choked. "Because you needed to feel what I felt, broken, grasping at a lie." Letting you off easy would have been too kind. I held her gaze. She tried to justify it, citing our kids, begging for a chance. I didn't raise my voice. You can stay tonight, I said. But tomorrow, you're gone. I've set up shared custody. You won't fight it. I won't use this in court for the kids. But we're finished, for good. I walked away, leaving her at the table. I didn't look back. That night I slept deeply, not because I'd won, no one wins here, but because I took back my power. At dawn, I heard her pack quietly like a shadow. We didn't say goodbye. She left as she'd entered that first night, but with nothing left to return to. 8 months later, Sarah hasn't come back. We meet only for the kids with curt, emotionless exchanges. No apologies, no blame, just a sterile routine, like co-running a failed venture. She tries to act strong, but her eyes betray her. She carries her choices like a weight she can't shed. I learned David vanished from her life, spineless as expected. When the truth broke, he didn't stand by her. A lover who bolts at the first storm. She bet on a fraud and lost everything: job, respect, home. She keeps up a front, but she's hollow. I haven't dated, not from grief or loyalty, but because I needed to rediscover myself, free from the version shaped by her. I found my value, my faults, my strength. Betrayal is betrayal. A stab behind a smile, no matter how you spin it. Sometimes I watch the kids sleep and wonder what they'll think of this someday. Will they see their dad as weak for staying quiet at first, or harsh for what followed? I hope they'll understand that love doesn't mean taking everything, that forgiveness isn't always right, and that dignity is what's left when all else burns. I don't know if Sarah sleeps easy or if she still calls it a mistake. I don't care. I sleep alone, but in peace, a quiet, hard-earned win. Love died, but I didn't, and that's enough.